The strange thing about history is that the more and more we learn about it, the less it makes sense. Every year, archaeologists find something new from the ancient world. Most discoveries fill in missing pieces of the puzzle. They tell us how our ancestors lived, what they believed, and how they died. Then there are the discoveries that don't simply fill the gaps. They create totally new ones. From ancient Chinese rhinos to the mysterious stone labyrinths of Bolshoi-Zayatsky Island, these are the 15 shocking recent discoveries that could completely rewrite history. Number 15. The mysterious stone labyrinths. What would you think if you came across a giant stone maze in the middle of nowhere? Better yet, what if nobody could tell you why it was there? That's the mystery surrounding the stone labyrinths found across northern Russia. The most famous examples sit on Bolshoi-Zayatsky Island, where 14 of these strange formations occupy a super small patch of land. Researchers believe some may date back to the 2nd millennium BC. Around them lie ancient graves, stone mounds, and other traces of people who lived here thousands of years ago. The labyrinths come in different shapes and sizes, yet they all share one thing in common. Certainty is nowhere to be found. Some researchers believe they played a role in rituals, but some think they may have been linked to fishing or navigation. Whatever the answer is, somebody invested great effort in creating them. Thousands of years later, we're still standing on the outside looking in. Number 14. The ancient plague outbreak of Siberia. Well, this year is pretty bad, not because of wars or alien invasions. But compared to what people faced thousands of years ago, we might actually have it easy. Recently, researchers studying ancient remains in southeastern Siberia found evidence of a plague outbreak dating back about 5,500 years. Even more surprising, signs point to a second outbreak a few centuries later. DNA recovered from hunter-gatherers revealed traces of Yersinia pestis, the same bacterium responsible for some of history's deadliest epidemics. Researchers think the disease may have entered human communities through infected marmots, animals still known to carry plague today. From there, it likely spread from person to person. And unfortunately, many of the victims were children. At several burial sites, 2/3 of the dead were under 15 years old, with many buried beside siblings or relatives. Long before recorded history, entire families may have been wiped out by a disease we once thought belonged to a much later world. I have you COVID. Number 13. The unusual artifacts of a medieval Siberian burial. Archaeologists are used to finding burials. That's part of the job. But every now and then a grave appears that makes even experts stop and ask questions. One such discovery emerged this year from southern Siberia during excavations carried out before a railway project. Inside the 10th century burial were the remains of a woman, a newborn child, parts of a sheep, and the skull, skin, and limbs of a horse. It's already strange, but the objects buried alongside them made the mystery even deeper. The woman wore gilt bronze earrings and was laid to rest with an iron knife, a stone spindle whorl, and a deliberately broken mirror. Researchers believe the mirror may have arrived from China, based on its decorative design. What's even more unusual is that some of the horse equipment found in the grave was already old when it was buried. One decorated stirrup displayed influences from Chinese, Indian, and Persian art all at once. Taken together, the burial looks less like a local grave and more like a crossroads of entire civilizations. Number 12. The Roman battering rams. Sometimes a discovery doesn't change what happened in history. It alters how we understand why it happened. In 2021, marine archaeologists recovered 4 ancient Roman battering rams from the waters near Ustica Island off the coast of Sicily. At first, they looked like chunks of bronze. In reality, they were among the deadliest naval weapons of their era. Dating places them around 241 BC, near the end of the First Punic War between Rome and Carthage. Mounted on the front of warships, these rams were designed to punch through enemy vessels during battle. Ancient sources describe the devastating Roman victory at the Battle of the Agates, where Carthage suffered catastrophic losses. The discovery serves as a reminder that Rome's rise wasn't inevitable. Carthage possessed a powerful fleet and centuries of maritime experience. But Rome adapted, innovated, and ultimately gained the upper hand. These battered bronze weapons are physical evidence of a turning point that helped shape the ancient Mediterranean world. Number 11. The ancient Japanese saw technology. Japan is not only famous for its next-generation robots or cutting-edge technology. In fact, some of its engineering achievements may stretch back much further than most people realize. At an archaeological site in central Honshu, researchers found a small iron object that initially didn't look like much. Measuring less than 2 inches long, it featured a bent, beak-like shape and a row of tiny teeth running along one edge. After closer examination, experts identified it as an early iron saw dating to the late 2nd century AD. Well, this discovery may sound minor, but its implications are far bigger than its size. Tools like this require great metalworking knowledge and a level of craftsmanship not always tied to the period. Similar examples have previously been found in China, suggesting technological ideas may have traveled across East Asia earlier than expected. For archaeologists, it's another reminder that ancient societies were often far more skilled and connected than we give them credit for. So, history is not written on rocks. Number 10. Chinese prehistoric giant rhino fossils. It's hard to imagine an animal so large that a modern rhino would look small standing next to it. But that's basically what researchers discovered in China when they unearthed fossils belonging to Paraceratherium lynxia ents, a giant relative of today's rhinos that lived around 26.5 million years ago. Well, the numbers are almost ridiculous. This animal weighed roughly 48,000 pounds, stood over 16 feet tall at the shoulder, and stretched more than 36 feet in length. If it lifted its head, it could reach nearly 23 feet into the air. That makes it the largest land mammal ever identified in history. The fossils included parts of the skull, jaw, vertebrae, and neck, giving scientists enough evidence to classify it as a new species. More importantly, the discovery paints a different picture of ancient Asia. These giants once moved across vast regions from present-day Pakistan to Mongolia. Their existence suggests a landscape capable of supporting enormous plant-eating animals long after changing climates wiped out many other giants. Number 9. The ancient Buddha mirror well. A museum can hold thousands of artifacts, but sometimes a single one is worth more than thousands. And this is one of the most valuable ones in the Cincinnati Art Museum. This bronze mirror has spent years in storage, but in 2022, it became the center of attention when experts found it was far more than an ordinary reflective surface. Under the right lighting conditions, the mirror projects the image of a seated Buddha. The figure was completely hidden during normal viewing, appearing only when light hits the surface in a specific way. The discovery was made by curator Dr. Ho Mei Sung, who recognized the object as a rare magic mirror. The technology behind these mirrors dates back more than 2,000 years and is associated with ancient China. What's remarkable is that creating the effect requires an extraordinary level of precision. Even today, reproducing it isn't simple. For years, the mirror sat in storage, and now in experts' minds. Number 8. Medinet Habu. Canon King list history isn't only shaped by what people choose to record. Sometimes it's shaped by what they leave out. That's one reason a rare scene carved into the walls of Medinet Habu continues to attract attention more than 3,000 years after it was created. The temple, built for Ramesses III in ancient Egypt, contains a procession honoring rulers of the past. At first glance, everything seems normal. Kings are shown, offerings are presented, and the message of royal continuity is clear. Then historians notice something unusual. Several rulers who should have appeared in the sequence are missing entirely. Names such as Siptah, Amenmesse, and Tausret were simply excluded. Whether this was political, religious, or deeply personal remains uncertain. The relief itself survived in extraordinary condition, preserving details and colors rarely seen in monuments of this age. Scholars studied it for generations, yet many details were overlooked until more complete recordings were produced in the 20th century. Even today, the omissions raise a serious question: who gets remembered? And who gets erased from history? Number 7. Ziggurat of Ur. Some buildings are designed to impress people, others to impress the gods. The Ziggurat of Ur feels like one of those places. More than 4,000 years ago, workers in ancient Mesopotamia stacked millions of mud bricks into a massive stepped structure that rose above the flat landscape of southern Iraq. Even today, its size is difficult to ignore. Back then, it would have dominated the horizon for miles. The ziggurat was dedicated to Nana, the Sumerian moon god. Long stairways climbed toward a temple at the top, a place considered closer to the heavens than the world below. Ordinary people weren't free to wander wherever they pleased. Access was limited, adding even more mystery to the structure. What makes the site so great isn't just its age, it's the ambition behind it. Building something of this scale required planning, labor, and resources on a level many people don't associate with such an ancient civilization. Number 6. Dead Sea Scrolls chemical secret. Most people assume ancient documents survive because they got lucky. Dry cave. Good weather. Maybe a hidden location. The Dead Sea Scrolls tell a different story. For years, researchers focused on the words written across the scrolls. More recently, attention shifted to something else entirely: the material itself. How had some of these texts survived for more than 2,000 years in such remarkable condition? The answer wasn't hidden in the writing. It was hidden on the surface. Scientists discovered traces of unusual mineral compounds containing sodium, calcium, and sulfur salts. The strange part is that these materials don't naturally match the surrounding area. In other words, somebody appears to have intentionally treated the parchment before writing on it. That small decision may be one of the reasons the scrolls survived as long as they did. Ironically, some suffered more damage after their discovery than during centuries inside the caves. Sometimes the real story isn't what's written on a document. It's how that document managed to survive long enough for us to read it. Number 5. Blue glass bottle of Hull burial site. Most graves tell us how someone died. This one may reveal how someone lived. During excavations at Trinity Burial Ground in Hull, archaeologists found the remains of a lady buried in 1783. She appeared fairly ordinary until researchers noticed something unusual resting between her legs: a cobalt blue glass bottle bearing the words Hull Infirmary. Naturally, questions followed. Why would someone be buried with a bottle? Early speculation suggested it may have contained urine connected to medical testing or treatment. Later analysis pointed in a different direction. Researchers now believe it likely held a phosphate-based tonic, a popular remedy used during the 18th century to treat conditions ranging from weak bones to tuberculosis. No one knows exactly why the bottle accompanied her into the grave. Perhaps she relied on it for years. Perhaps relatives placed it there as a final gesture. Well, the truth, who knows? Number 4. The prehistoric sea dragon fossil. In 2021, a routine inspection at Rutland Nature Reserve turned into something no one expected. What looked like a line of old pipes sticking out of the ground turned out to be the remains of a giant sea reptile. And not just any sea reptile. The skeleton belonged to an ichthyosaur, a beast that swam Earth's oceans around 180 million years ago. Once excavation began, the scale became obvious. The animal measured 33 feet long, with a skull so large it stretched about 6 feet by itself. Researchers soon realized they weren't looking at an ordinary fossil. It was the largest and most complete sea dragon ever found in Britain. Even stranger, it appeared in a place that today sits far from the ocean. A reminder that long before roads, towns, and nature reserves existed, this part of England was underwater and filled with creatures impossible to imagine. Number 3. Ancient skeletons found holding hands. People have been telling love stories for millennia. Very few survive for 7 centuries beneath the ground. While excavating the remains of a forgotten church near Leicester, archaeologists unearthed something they weren't expecting. Lying side by side were 2 skeletons whose hands appeared to be linked together. More than 700 years had passed, yet the image remained surprisingly powerful. Naturally, questions followed. Were they husband and wife? Family members? Close friends? Nobody can say for certain. What makes the discovery even more unusual is the location itself. The burials were found at the ruins of St. Morel's Church, a site that had largely disappeared from history. Researchers uncovered walls, foundations, coins, and 11 burials in total, all dating back to the medieval period. Every skeleton followed traditional Christian burial practices, yet the reason this church existed separately from nearby religious sites remains unclear. The identity of the pair may never be known. Number 2. Golan Heights Circle. If aliens had built a monument 5,000 years ago, this is probably what most people would expect it to look like. Known as Rouge Melhiri, or the Wheel of the Giants, this enormous stone structure sits near the Sea of Galilee. From the ground, it doesn't seem particularly special. Then you see it from above. Suddenly, giant rings appear, formed from thousands of stones arranged around a central mound. The site is older than many of the world's most famous landmarks, yet nobody can say with complete confidence why it was built. Some researchers believe it may have served a ceremonial purpose. Others point to alignments with the sunrise during important times of the year, suggesting astronomical observations. The real puzzle is the effort involved. Moving and arranging stones of this size would have been a serious undertaking for any ancient community. Yet very little was left behind to explain who actually built it or why. Number 1. The Sumerian king list. Every civilization keeps records of its rulers, like names, dates, victories, failures, and that's normal. What isn't normal is a king ruling for nearly 3,000 years. Well, the Sumerian king list may look like a simple historical document, but this 4,000-year-old clay tablet records dynasties and rulers from ancient Mesopotamia. Then the numbers start appearing. According to the text, some of the earliest kings ruled for tens of thousands of years. One king, Alulim of Eridu, remained on the throne for 28,800 years. Others weren't far behind. Altogether, the earliest rulers are said to have governed for more than 240,000 years before a great flood changed everything. Naturally, most historians don't take those figures literally. Many believe the numbers were symbolic or tied to traditions that have long since been lost. Still, the document raises an intriguing question. Why would a civilization known for record-keeping begin its history with reigns that seem impossible? Well, drop your theories below. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.